Pine is the upcoming open world game for the Nintendo Switch and PC. Not enough people have been talking about this game, and a lot of people don't know what it is, so today I will be giving you 12 reasons to be excited for Pine. Before we start, I want to give a big shout out to the Discord and Reddit groups for this game, as they helped me come up with a lot of these reasons. Links will be in the description if you want to check them out. And also a big thanks to the awesome development team for this game, Twirlbound, a small team of only 7 guys based in the Netherlands. They were very helpful and answered all of my questions. So if you don't know much about Pine or you've never even heard of it, here's 12 reasons to be excited for Pine. Number 1. The open world. Pine will have a big, beautiful open world with 6 different biomes. There's forest, plains, swamp, desert, the snowy mountains, and caves. These different biomes will make the island of Albemarle unique and diverse. There's also plenty of secrets to find in the open world, so there's much to discover. There's also a day and night cycle with a dynamic weather system. One of the coolest things about Pine's open world is that the wildlife on the island will interact with each other in different ways. Like in this clip, for example, 2 creatures are fighting each other, and then the player chooses to jump into the fight. The open world of Pine is definitely one of the biggest reasons why I am so excited for the game, and since the game is releasing on Switch, we can explore the world of Pine at home or on the go. Number 2. Species evolve and learn. Pine will have 5 different species in the game. There's the Carablin, who look like moose, the Litter, who look like lizards, the Crockers, who look like crocodiles, the Fexels, who look like foxes, and finally there's the Gobbledoo, who look like birds. All 5 of these species behave and react differently to situations. Another really cool feature is that the artificial intelligence will actually learn from your fighting style and try to counter it. So if you always use ranged attacks, then your opponent will learn to block. It looks like a really complex and unique system, and I can't wait to see it in action in the final game. Species will also evolve based on what happens in the world. It seems to be sort of a survival of the fittest type thing. All of this is very interesting to me, and I don't know many games that have taken this approach to an open world before. Number 3. Humans are not at the top of the food chain. The world of Pine is based around one key idea, that humans never made it to the top of the food chain. What if other types of animals evolved just as fast, if not faster than the humans did? That's what Pine is all about. The other species that live on the island of Albemarle are actually more intelligent and capable than the humans are. This sets up a really cool world where life is all about the struggle to survive. Your primary goal in Pine is to find a new home for the humans where they will stay safe. In order to do that, you are going to have to outsmart your opponents rather than overpower them. Number 4. All your decisions matter. In Pine, everything you do, or don't do, affects the world around you. You can decide if you want to team up with a village or destroy it. In this gameplay here, you can see that this player poisons a village and then defeats all the lizards living there. But the interesting part is that the village actually crumbles after they are defeated. This is a perfect example of your decisions having consequences in Pine. If that player didn't attack the village, it would still be there. So the game gives you control to shape the world of Pine. This is a really cool game mechanic because it lets you make decisions that change the game. Number 5. The art style and visuals. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, just look at this. It's beautiful. Pine looks better than some AAA games in my opinion, and it was made by only 7 people. It proves that having an artistic vision for a game can really pay off. One of the things that I am most impressed by is the lighting. The way the sun hits the environments is just gorgeous. The art style is very similar to Breath of the Wild, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, Breath of the Wild is one of the best looking games on Switch. The world just seems so natural and organic. I really love the direction they went in with the visuals, and I think Pine could end up being one of the best looking indie games on the Switch. Number 6. The vaults and dungeons. This one gets me really excited. The developers have said multiple times that Pine takes inspiration from The Legend of Zelda, my personal favorite gaming franchise of all time, and this is where that shows the most. Pine will have something called vaults, which are basically this game's dungeons. We really don't know much about these vaults, so I reached out to Twirlbound and they gave me a little bit more information. They said there will be a total of 3 vaults in the game, and each one will take about 40 minutes to complete. Now, 3 might not sound like that big of a number, but let me remind you that Breath of the Wild has only 4 short dungeons. So having 3 40-minute dungeons in Pine is really good. They also said that after completing these vaults, you will be rewarded with a tool called an outfinding, which will help you back in the open world. I'm sure these vaults will have puzzles and be filled with the island lore. Number 7. The lore and story. Now, you can't have an open world game without some story, right? Well, Pine has that too. You play as a human named Hugh, a young adult who wants nothing more than his tribe to be safe again. So he ventures out into the world to find a new home for his people. Once again, we don't know a whole lot about the story, but that's kind of the point. The vaults will have a lot of lore, but there is also much to be discovered in the open world as well. Many of the species on the island have been there longer than the humans, so talking and interacting with them will be another source of the story. There will also probably be a lot of environmental storytelling as well. Number 8. The combat. Since humans are not at the top of the food chain anymore, you can bet there will be some combat in Pine. This is one of the areas where the game has improved the most. Here's a comparison between Pine in 2017 and Pine in 2019. As you can see, the combat has been majorly updated. The animations look much smoother and Hugh has had his moveset improved. The combat is very similar to Zelda games, where you lock onto an opponent and attack. There seems to be a parry system, as in this gameplay you can see Hugh blocking an incoming projectile with his shield. You can also use items in combat and time seems to slow down, letting you pick which item to use. You can also roll to the side and dodge. Number 9. Crafting and trading. Pine has an in-depth crafting and trading system. In the gameplay we have seen, it shows a crafting menu where you make things out of the materials that you have gathered. The gameplay also shows a trading system where you trade with the different species. It looks like you pick an item from the merchant's inventory and then you offer up your goods until the balance is either even or tipping on your side. This is a really cool idea. Instead of just selling for money and then buying, you're actually trading items for other items. So you have to decide whether to trade for an item or to try to find the right materials so you can craft it yourself. Number 10. Puzzles and platforming. This is another part of Pine that is very similar to the Zelda series. Across the island you will find puzzles both inside vaults as well as in the open world. In this gameplay we see Hugh using what is probably an outfinding to solve a simple puzzle to reach a treasure chest. There also seems to be some light platforming elements as well, as he has to jump across to reach the platform. I can't wait to try out some of the more complex puzzles found in the vaults. Number 11. Creatures and critters. The open world of Pine is not inhabited by only smart species. No, there is also plenty of wildlife that is not so evolved. One of the signature creatures of Pine is the animal called the alpaphant. This looks like kind of a weird horse. We have seen Hugh riding on this thing, so we know it can act as a way of travel. There will probably be all sorts of creatures living on Albamare, friendly or hostile. Number 12. There are not many games like this anymore. The final reason to be excited for Pine is because games like this are few and far between nowadays. Very few developers are working on good action-adventure single-player games, so it's refreshing to see a game that has a lot of passion and love put into it. For me, Pine is everything I look for in a video game, and I can't wait to finally play it. If this game interests you, I highly recommend you look into it. I really want more people to know about this game. If you have any questions, ask the developers of this game on Twitter, Reddit, Discord, or email. They are really great at answering questions and interacting with their fans. I'll put their links in the description. Pine is releasing sometime this August on Nintendo Switch and PC. When the game comes out, I will probably do a video review shortly after. I hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.